Alright everyone, welcome to the second Monday Pet Show. This week we're going to be talking about hedgehog care. It's my Pinto female hedgehog there. First thing, if you buy a new hedgehog, you're going to need to know about the enclosure. Now you should have an enclosure that's at least 24 inches long by 18 inches deep. The height of the enclosure does not really matter because they are pretty clumsy, they don't really climb anything. So for your cage, you're going to want to have as much ground space as possible. A tall cage with extra levels really doesn't matter for these guys and won't be beneficial. So you're going to want a big floor space. In the cage, you don't need all that much. A wheel is necessary. Don't get one that has the just the bars across. These mesh types are okay. They have pretty big feet. They haven't had any problems with these mesh types. But if you get a plastic one that's solid, that would be even better. Or any of the solid ones would be better so their feet can't get stuck in it. Of course you need a hide. And I forget how much, I forget exactly how much this one was, but it was under $10. And it's pretty big. I got it online at Drs. Foster and Smith. They got lots of good stuff pretty cheap. For the food dish, this is actually a cat food, a cat auto feeder that holds 1.5 pounds of food. Now, I clean their cages about every 6 days at the most, sometimes 4 or 5 days. With a normal little food dish, you would have to refill it almost every day because hedgehogs eat a pretty good amount. They eat probably 2, 3, 4 times as much as my possums do. So with this feeder, I fill it up usually about halfway or 3/4 the way, and then it'll last a good 5-6 days. So I don't have to worry about changing it all the time. I just change its food out when I clean the cage. And then of course a water bottle. I've got mine hanging on back there. And again, the water bottle, the bigger one you get the better, because just like food, they drink a lot. So if you get a little water bottle, you're going to be refilling it all the time. The one that I have on here, it's hard to see, it's 16 ounce. And it probably lasts about 4 or 5 days maximum. So I usually refill it every 4 days, more than I clean the cage. There are bigger water bottles out there that'll last longer, but try to get at least a 16 ounce. That way you'll get a good 4 or 5 days out of it. For bedding, just like any other small animal, don't use pine or cedar. Only type of bedding you should use is aspen. You can get these small shavings like shown here, or you can get larger chips like are currently in the cage. Alright, what else do we need to talk about? I think the cage is pretty much covered. Of course, the next important thing is food. Now, there's not all that many perfect foods on the market that I would recommend just feeding alone. Just like my possums that I feed a variety to, I recommend you do the same thing for hedgehogs. And I feed them pretty close to what I feed my possum. I feed them a mix of ferret food, sugar glider food, dog food, hedgehog food, and I also feed cat food, which I don't have here. And what I do is I mix it all up into a tub, and then that's what's in here. It's a mixture of everything. If you feed cat food and other types of food, it's good to get high protein, 30% or more protein, and low fat, 15% or less fat. So when you're picking out other types of foods, try to get higher protein and lower fat. Now also for treats and other things, they are insectivores. You can give them all types of insects, from crickets to mealworms to superworms, kelsey worms, pretty much any of the worms out there and any of the insects out there. You can also feed them pinky mice. Don't feed them anything bigger than like a just born pinky. They pretty much will chew it up and swallow it whole, but adult mice, they don't really attack and go after that much, but a pinky they will eat. They like that a lot. I have another video of her eating a couple of those. For normal foods like human foods, you can feed don't feed anything like from fast food or from a restaurant, but like things you cook at home that are just no sauce on them, like chicken, salmon, tuna. You can feed all types of fruits and vegetables, hamburger meat, beef, eggs. Yogurt and cottage cheese is okay in small amounts, but other dairy products are no good. They can upset their stomach. Don't feed them any milk or anything like that. There's probably other foods out there you can give them too, but that pretty much is plenty. Just their main food you want always available. They'll only eat what they need, so just it's always available in their cage. And then the treats, just feed whenever you want to give them treats. If you just got a new hedgehog and you brought him home, they can be very skittish, kind of. They'll be very quick to go down into a ball, like she's probably going to do when I touch her. Like that. They'll be very quick to do that until they get to know you. Now she's pregnant, I hope, and I haven't picked her up for about a couple weeks. The babies I plan to hold a lot and get them to be very nice. The 3 hedgehogs I have do not bite. She won't bite me, and I can pet her. The spikes don't hurt, and after a while she'll get nicer. And actually, if I pick her up, she usually gives up, and then she's nice. She doesn't bite or anything like that. She is very big. I think she probably is pregnant, which is probably why she's also extra cranky. But as long as you get a nice one that doesn't bite, you just gotta handle them. It's best to pick them up from underneath, and if you want to, use some gloves like oven mitts or something. And once they're out of the cage and you're handling them, they're usually pretty nice, and they'll get to know you, and then over time they'll become nicer and nicer. Give them treats by hand, by hand and stuff like that, and it'll get them to know you and like you more too quicker.